Isaac Adewole this morning. Good morning, Dr. Denise. How are you today? Good to see you again.
Morning. Good to see you too. Yeah, special edition. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. So it's your turn. Turning over the baton to you now.
Thank you very much. Morning, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Kakaki Cancer Awareness, hosted by Dr. Denise Ejo, the CEO of Comwood Cancer Foundation, in partnership with AIT. Together we fight, together we win. And it is truly a privilege to have you all with us this morning. I want to welcome, as they've already introduced, firstly, because this is a different one, a very special guest on this particular edition, Professor Isaac Adewole. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, Dennis. Happy to be on board.
Thank you for honoring my invitation, and thank you
pleasure.
for the nice conversations we're going to have this morning.
Thank you.
So, what are we talking about? Today we're going to be focusing on the national priority, eliminating cervical cancer in Nigeria, and our topic is driving policy and action, a strategic role on the National Task Force under a very special and honored guest. So let me now introduce Prof properly. Prof is the former, let me put it this way, is the current, let me put it in order, he's currently the chairman of the National Task Force on Cervical Cancer Elimination in Nigeria. And he used to be the former Minister for Health. So you see, I've got a very good, very, very, very good person to talk to us today. So I'm going to give you a brief bio and then we'll start. Prof is a renowned professor of obstetrics. Oh my God. Prof, I don't know how to pronounce medical terms, so you're going to excuse me because as much as possible I try not to do them, but I'm going to try. And gynecology. And he's the former Minister of Health, which we all know. He's widely respected for his leadership in advancing women's health, public health policy, and cancer control strategies across Africa. Prof. Adewole currently serves as the chairman of the National Task Force on Cervical Cancer Elimination, spearheading Nigeria's efforts to align with the WHO's 2030 elimination targets. His commitment to equitable healthcare access has earned him national and international recognition. So as we sit back now and enjoy this conversation, I want to especially say once again, Prof, thank you very much for honoring this invitation, and to the viewers, sit back and listen, and hopefully you'll have enough to be able to talk about going forward on what exactly is going on cervical cancer in Nigeria. So, Prof, are you ready for me with the questions?
Yes, please. Fire on.
Let's go. So, firstly, what led to the establishment of the National Task Force on Cervical Cancer Elimination, and what is its overarching goals?
Well, thank you, Dennis. And let me start by congratulating you on your foundation and your spearheading a major global assignment, trying to broadcast and increase awareness about cancer globally. And to me, you are doing humanity a huge favor. And I say God bless you and your effort. In 2017, the global community started talking based on modeling results and some other studies about the possibility of eliminating cervical cancer as a public health challenge. And the WHO Director General then took a memo to the World Health Assembly in August 2020, seeking for the establishment of a global initiative to eliminate cervical cancer as a public health problem. And this memo was approved at the World Health Assembly in 2020, setting some broad goals that will enable us to eliminate cervical cancer by 2030. The strategy actually looks at a three-pronged approach. We are used to all the three on different platforms. One is to vaccinate young girls before they become sexually active. Two is to screen women in their lifetime. And thirdly is to treat those with pre-cancer, because we know that cervical cancer is unique it moves over about some phases during a period of about 15 to 20 years from the normal cervical cell to what we call the precancerous cell to cancer. And so when we screen women, essentially we are able to pick precancer cells. And when we pick precancer cells and we treat them, we're actually stopping the progression of those normal cells to cancer. And then, in the course of screening, we will also be able to pick cancer, and then we'll treat them. And we now know that when we adopt this three-pronged approach, particularly the second step of the second pillar of the three pillars, and that is screening, that we screen twice. It got to a time in US, in UK, people were screening every 2 years, every year, every 3 years. And at a point in time, WHO said, if you screen, even once in a lifetime, that is enough. But through modeling, we know that that will not help us. We need to screen twice in a lifetime using a high precision, high performance test that is actually looking for the causation of cervical cancer, which is the human papilloma virus. And we know that this virus, there are over 100 of them, but about 15 of them are highly carcinogenic. And those are the ones we focus on. We will not focus on the non-carcinogenic ones. Adopting those three approaches, WHO then came up with this three-pronged strategy of 90-70-90 strategy. Vaccinate 90% of your girls, screen 70% of your women, and treat 90% of those with lesions. And establish clear referral pathway. Because for many of us, when we screen and we do not have a mechanism for treating them, we think what you are doing is unethical. So when we put these three together, we are in a position to drive the incidence of cervical cancer to less than 4 per 100,000. And the elimination agenda considered us to be the threshold for elimination. And that is doable by 2030.
You've made it very simple for the first time. Okay, now I get it. Gosh, I've been doing this program for years.
That's my job as a teacher.
You see, that's one of the best things. Okay, now I get it. Okay, so in light of that, walk us through Nigeria's national roadmap on the leadership, under your leadership. How are you going to walk us through that? So, I mean, how are we going to?
Yeah, I think the beauty, the beauty of our work is that Nigeria has done so many big things in silos, in here and there. Number one is that Nigerian set up, gave instruction that no teaching hospital or anybody should treat cancer without going through what we call the multidisciplinary tumor board. In other words, no single physician should treat cancer. Cancer is a multi-dimensional problem, and those who will manage them must comprise the surgeon, the physician, the radiotherapist, the psychologists, psychotherapists. All of us must come together at the table, look at this problem, and prescribe appropriate treatment plan. Not one person. That came out. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Secondly, we started rehabilitating our cancer centers, which started when I was in office, and is still ongoing. And thirdly, we established a cancer aid fund, now for 3 major cancers: breast, cervix, and prostate, to help people who are indigent. So that was the background. And then in August last year, before then, the good news: Nigeria latched on into the global introduction of human papilloma virus vaccine. The application was filed when I was in office, but there was no vaccine available. But the introduction of vaccines from China, from India, freed the market. And then studies also indicated that although initially we were applying 3 shots of the vaccine to people, we would do well with just 1 shot. And those studies demonstrated that 1 single shot is not inferior to 2 shots and 3 shots. And if you have to give just one shot rather than 3, that actually improves compliance, and that also frees supplies. So that means what we used to give to one person now can be given to 3. And so, having freed that, Nigeria came on board in 2023, and we were able to surprise the entire world by vaccinating over 12.3 million girls in 9 months. No country has done that anywhere in the world. To me, is a remarkable achievement, so that when people praise some countries as doing well, I say, well, we've done it. And that was actually celebrated at the International Gynecological Cancer Society meeting in Dublin, as well as the Human Papillomavirus Society meeting in Edinburgh. So we've done well. And so in August last year, the Minister of State for Health, who is now Minister of Education, established the task force on the recommendation of the Director General of the Nigerian Institute for Cancer Treatment and Research. And so our task force came alive with clear mandate: 1, to network, because this cannot be done by a single person. We need a partnership. We need a movement. And also to raise resources, train people, establish protocols, and initiate treatment, and work with subnationals. Clear cut mandates. And so we had a retreat in December to say, how are we going to get this done? And we then established 10 subcommittees on communication, on treatment, on vaccination, on research and innovation, and fundraising, and so on and so forth. And ever since, we've been moving. And that partnership is growing by the day. And we would love to have you as a partner, considering what you are doing.
I'm serving with you. I'm on your team. I'm working with you already, Prof. I'm serving on screening.
Excellent. And to be honest, we recognize that we can't do it alone. We need a partnership. We need a movement. And we now actually formed what we call a partnership to eliminate cervical cancer in Nigeria. And that partnership comprises NICRAT, comprises National Institute for Primary Care Development Agency, National Health Insurance, the Governors Forum, the Forum of State Commissioners of Health, the Governors' Spouses, and WHO, including CHAI, our technical partners, that's the Clinton Health Access Initiative. And of course, we now have a super umbrella under the leadership of the First Lady, who is a patron, and we are launching this movement on 3rd of June in Abuja.
So hopefully I'll be there. Alrighty, so that works now. So now you've cleared up the background as to how we got where we are and what we're trying to achieve. So now the things that come up are, what do you envisage going to be the major challenges of the task force in eliminating cervical cancer?
Well, to be honest, I think the greatest challenge that we face is issue of awareness. A study done by one of our colleagues, Professor Rose Anolu, in Louth, about 2 years ago, demonstrated awareness is a major problem. And Professor Anolu and his team studied some people and discovered that even among those studied, only 12.8% have heard of cervical cancer. And these are women in the reproductive age group. 95% of them have had sexual exposure. Over almost 60% have more than one partner. So if they've not heard of cervical cancer, then we have a problem. Anybody who has not heard of it will certainly not have heard of screening, will not do screening, will certainly not take her daughter for vaccination. So I think a major challenge is spread the good news that yes, this is a cancer, but it's one cancer where there is a vaccine to prevent, where screening can help us pick it at very early stages where we can treat, and where even when you have cancer, particularly in stages 1 of this disease, we can still offer a cure. I think that's the beauty of cervical cancer. And the cervix, you showed a beautiful diagram there. The cervix is outside. It's not like the ovary. It's not something that is hidden, so we can easily see it. And to me, God has actually programmed cervical cancer for elimination.
Oh, wow. I like the way you put that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. I like the way you put that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you because honestly, but one thing that I'm going to say now, one thing that is a big issue, and because I do this awareness, especially cervical cancer, stigmatization is the biggest, in my view, hindrance. And all this, it's not my syndrome because even when we do awareness, and I'm saying it from like I do this program, one of the hardest people to find is a cervical cancer patient willing to come on air to actually say they have it. I remember when I first started this program, the lots of people that told me, how can I come out and talk, say I have cancer, was the no's were more than the yes. But I knew I had to do something with what I knew. Okay, so cervical cancer, that partnership, the campaign is going to have to be very spot on to make sure you can actually achieve what you're trying to achieve. Because, like you said, like I was going to ask you specific questions, what is the role of the partnership with especially things like your NGOs, your donors, the media? Okay, we've got AIT, we've got a few, okay, but we need the survivors, we need the patients. How do you get?
I think let me put the fault squarely on our footstep, on our doorstep.
Okay.
When we started, our understanding of cervical cancer was a bit flawed. Dating back to 18th century, workers and particularly Italian scholars recognized a link between sexual activity and cervical cancer, because they looking at nuns in the Roman Catholic monastery doing autopsy, they could not find cervical cancer among the nuns. What that struck in them was that, oh, there must be something, a link between sexual activity and cancer. And so when we started teaching, we kept on saying that cervical cancer is a disease of multiple partners, people who are promiscuous, people who have sex early. I think that was, to me, very wrong in terms of direction. And that created that stigmatization, set the foundation for the stigmatization. Nobody wants to be identified as having multiple sexual partners. Even as sex workers would not openly admit that they are sex workers. And that's why many of us advocated that the word commercial should be removed. A sex worker is a sex worker. Remove commercial sex worker. Remove commercial from sex workers. And so we are now changing the narrative that you do not need to have multiple sexual partners to have cervical cancer. What you need to do is to have what I would call some challenge with your immune mechanism, where ordinarily you will have cleared this virus, but you are unable to clear it. We know that cervical cancer is caused by human papilloma virus, and that women, within a few months of sexual debut, have the infection. In fact, within 2 years, almost all girls will have human papilloma virus infection. But then they will clear the virus. So if you check them, 6 months, 12 months beyond, the virus will have disappeared. But there is a small group who hold on to the virus. They are unable to clear it. These are the people that we need to really cone on. These people have what we call persistence of human papilloma virus. So our concern should be, why are they unable to clear it? So that means they have some problem with their immune system. Not that because they have multiple sexual partners, they started sex at the age of 4 or whatever it is, that false narrative. But as soon as we change the narrative, that it is not your fault, it is not in your stars, and that even when if you have it, we can cure you, I think more and more people will come out to say, look, yes, I had it, and then I challenge. It is difficult to find an early case of cervical cancer that we can cure. You know it. over 80% of our women come in advanced stages where we can no longer cure them. So you look for them in 3-4 years, they are gone. So those with cervical cancer also do not live long. But as we screen women, we are going to pick early cancers that we can treat, and then you have survivors. So this program will help us to have survivors because we will improve communication, we will remove the element of guilt, and then screening will also expose early cancers.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. And the vaccinations will help. The vaccinations will do a fantastic job. At least we've started
Certainly.
I don't know if you
Well,
want to say anything about the rollout, but yeah.
We've started well. As I said, we were able to vaccinate 12.3 million girls in 9 months. And between then and now, we vaccinated, I think, additional 1.2 or 3 million under the routine immunization program. So far, Nigeria has vaccinated over 13.5 million girls.
Well, that I mean that to me that's a very good one. So I'm going to ask you this one, and this is one that okay. What can everyday Nigerian parents, teachers, religious leaders, and I'm going to go for parents. I don't know what we're going to do about teachers and education. I'm an educator, so we have to look at that. I want to be very active in this one, but religious leaders do to support this. How are we going to get them on board? Because they are key. They are very, very key stakeholders if we're going to get early detection addressed correctly. And when I use that because even if when I want to talk in church or places like that about cancer, they don't want to hear it. It's just like no, 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 no. It's prayer. It's not, and it's like no. If people know the facts, the chances that they're going to do the right thing. So how are you? Yeah. So how are you going to do that part? What are we going to do?
Well, it's a major challenge, deeply rooted in our socio-cultural milieu. When you talk about cancer, the next thing is the Christian will say, I reject it in the mighty name of Jesus. It's not my portion. I think education will help us to understand things better. And then we need to get everybody educated. And when I say educated, getting to understand the reality. And it is not, the education I'm talking about is not the university education or whatever it is. It is getting to understand the real issues, the causation, the development pathway from normal to abnormal to cancer, and how we can really block that development through vaccination, screening, and treatment of early stages, and then be able to explain to people clearly. Also remove the element of guilt, and it's very important, and to assure them that cure is possible. I think with this partnership should involve the community leaders, religious leaders, traditional leaders, teachers, everybody, all of us, even parents. In South Africa, there is a program of screen the mother and vaccinate the daughter.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things that we need to introduce here. When the woman is coming for screening, has her daughter been vaccinated? When a girl is vaccinated, has your mother been screened? And no age is exempt. So I think we should continue to look at it from a holistic view and make sure that everybody is involved. Everybody, all of us.
Yeah, I think yeah, that makes because I'm looking at it when the vaccine rollout first came out with my eldest child. I recall there was a lot of no, 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 no. But I was like, no, I'm a teacher. I know, no, you're going to do this vaccine because I don't want to cry in the front on that course. Any other thing you can, but not on something you know about. So yes, screening, we've got to look at that. Okay, I'm going to ask you now. What gives Nigeria? What gives you hope that we can actually achieve as much as we want to achieve? Now I'm looking at it from the fact that I do serve. I said just now I serve on your committee for screening, and we're looking at quite a lot of things that we're working on and the documents and stuff, which is making me very educated again. in medical parts where I'm not a medical person. I'm a maths teacher. But let's go. What gives you hope that Nigeria can eliminate this thing? I really want it to be eliminated because I live with this disease. So it's like anything to stop people dying. And where it's not my syndrome portion cannot continue to be our narrative. Can't be. So what's your hope?
Well, tough question, but still, we need to face it. And that is actually what is driving some of us. Because you're going to ask, why are you so energized about this issue? And why do you think success is around the corner? One, I have an absolute faith in this country and in a capacity to achieve that might appear to be impossible, even in other settings. When Nigerians put their mind on something, you can consider it done, and we shall do it well. One is the issue of the immunization. The vaccination program surprised the entire world, and nobody gave us a chance. I can tell you that. I have done reviews for Gavi for several years, and I know even within the community, they were skeptical that, oh, can Nigerians get this done? But we surprised the entire world. But what caused that? And I will put it simple. Three things. One is political will. The second one is political commitment. And the third one is political action. And that action came with the First Lady of Nigeria coming on board, working with the governor's spouses to drive the vaccination program. And that removed blockages and barriers and opened the door for many people to come forward and say, look, let's have this vaccine. And when we paid her a visit on the World Health Day, she surprised us by also making a frontline contribution of 1 billion naira from the Renewed Hope Initiative. So you can see somebody who is ready to put a pause where our heart is and where our commitment is. I think when you add all this together, and also the backing that we've received from the Federal Ministry of Health, particularly the two ministers and the minister, former Minister of State for Health, Dr. Alausa, and the two ministers, Professor Dr. Salako, who is the Minister of State, and Professor Pate, the coordinating minister, we cannot just be comforted that success is just for us to grab.
I want to honestly agree with you because
and
now,
of course, I have a wonderful task force. I wasn't party to the selection, but I don't think I can have anything better.
yes, I think you do. Yes, I think I know quite a few people on it. But yeah, now it's not. I'm thinking about it because one of the things whenever I listen to the conversations on the cervical cancer, this program on its own, I tend to find that one of the things that gives me joy was looking at the fact that the ministers, you didn't just take what's on, you brought what was before. And I'm going to appeal. This is my personal appeal. You know, education is key. Professor Alausa, Dr. Alausa is a doctor, but it's education. There is a tapping here that we need to actually look at. You know me, I'm looking far. I'm going far. Yeah, I wrote a book. I've written a children's book on cervical cancer already, and it's more because for 11.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
I'd love to read
I'm
that.
going to bring you your copy. Don't worry, I'm going to bring you your copies.
Yes,
I will. But
and
one
I
of
would
the
like to make some input.
No, they are for children though, so they're just stories. Yes, I'll share it with you. But it's
Okay.
important now that we start to promote this narrative amongst all. And you know, honest, I doff my hat any day to the First Lady. At least she honestly, like you rightly pointed out, has put her heart where her voice is, which makes a significant difference. Now, as we are rounding up this conversation, the First Lady, from the bottom of my heart, as a cancer patient, speaking on behalf of all of us that are cancer advocates in Nigeria, those especially with cancer, because I work with those communities more, we want to say a very big thank you to her for getting into this piece. So can you let her know that as cancer, I'm representing all of us to say thank you, because at least somebody is hearing us crying. And that cry is not joking. It's not a joke for us when we cry about cancer. So for somebody to hear it, we appreciate her. And as we're closing now, what would you say to all Nigerians now as we're moving forward? What are they to expect? And what is the next few weeks or few months or the rest of the year? What do you have in store for us?
Well,
that's my last
thank you
question
so
to
much,
you.
Dennis. Thank you so much, Dennis, for offering us this platform and being part of this movement. It's gone beyond the partnership, as I said. It's now a national movement, and that national movement is on now. Is on the move. The train is moving, and my appeal is to Nigerians in all walks of life to join this train and contribute in every way possible to ensuring that we succeed. All of us. There's no alternative. We cannot but succeed. Failure is not something we want to consider, because that's not in our spirit as Nigerians. And so, spread the news, destigmatize cervical cancer. It has nothing to do with multiple sexuality issues, nothing to do with multiple partners, nothing to do with promiscuity. It's just something that has to do with your immune system, which sometimes we cannot even explain. So you are not at fault. And so there's a vaccine to help. We can screen. For those who are already sexually active, we can screen. And even those with cancer, if we pick you early, don't stay away, don't visit other homes, we have a cure for you. And that we are on a threshold to eliminating cervical cancer as a public health problem in Nigeria.
Honestly, Prof, you've just made my day. And I think all of us were clapping for you. We're championing your cause. Anyhow, we're going to be behind you. We're working with you. I want to take this opportunity to really thank you for honoring this invitation. I was like, well, Prof, I agreed to do this, and I'm glad you did. So I'm looking forward to meeting you one-on-one, so we can actually continue our conversation and see what we're going to do, and you can guide me on how I'm going to be able to use media to get this message out on behalf of us all as Nigerian patients, parents, children, to know about cancer. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your insights and your unwavering support and leadership for all of us.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to working with you. We're going to have fun. We're going to have fun.
I assure you.
Thank you, sir. And to all our viewers, I want to say a very big thank you to Prof on behalf of all of us. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Thank you, all our viewers, for being with us. As you know, this is a special edition, and it's mainly to do with the cervical cancer. So we need to make sure we thank all those, the ministers of health and of state of health. Our first lady is our #1 champion any day, any time on this particular project. We that have cancer, we know what we're talking about. And to Prof, who is leading the team, we say thank you. Thank you for agreeing to serve the nation on this particular. We pulled you out of retirement now to come and work again. So thank you for agreeing to come and work again for all of us and for all our different needs. We really are very grateful. And to all our viewers, we thank you for staying with us today. And we hope that you take away the message that cervical cancer is not stigmatized around what you think. You'll be able to see this program on Commonwealth Cancer Foundation on our YouTube channel, so you can pick up facts, you can pick up what Prof is saying, and the ideas he's given as you build your own plans to drive change and to drive an impact in this cervical cancer rates that we've got to eliminate in this Nigeria. We got to get it right. Stay tuned again for us next week. Together we fight, together we win. You can see us all on our social media handles, and actually we have a social media handle for this project. So if you go on and look for us, it is actually the National Task Force for the Cervical Cancer Elimination. Social media handles are there, and all the facts, any information, the launching, anything Prof is doing or the committee is doing is all out there. Please follow us there and make sure you get up to date with what's going on in this. We look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time. Have a fantastic day, and maybe I will be talking to you live when I'm talking to Prof on the inauguration. Have a lovely, lovely day. Prof, thank you very much for your time and have a lovely day. And thank you for waking up to do this for me.
Thank
Take
you.
care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye. Our message is very clear. Together we'll fight. Together we win.